We'll be standing by.
Just a quick update on the congressman. There's a lot going on, or a lot being heard about what's going on in Washington. But in spite of everything you hear, there are some things getting done. In regard to all of the discussion relative to impeachment, the congressman and the other Republican members of the delegation were opposed to the impeachment act that came before the Congress, not because they're not for the clarity and openness of that process. They very much want that, but what was before them does not do that, and that's why they opposed it. They felt like there needed to be other issues associated with allowing both sides to present information, having adequate representation. There's a new farm bill that the congressman has joined in a bipartisan effort to try and bring and ensure farm workforce and willingness to farm workforce as well, and able to afford the affordability of those farm workers. That's a bipartisan bill that is working its way through Congress at this point in time. Dealing on the Foreign Affairs Committee, he's attempting to bring fairness to the process relative to Taiwan. You may have heard something about that. China is imposing restrictions and trying to take advantage of them, and he's not for that. A lot of comments and information relative to the off-road vehicles and national parks. It's really not his issue, and he's willing to try and bring peace to that by working with both sides to find some solutions. But that's an issue that's beyond the legislative process right now. Maybe something in the future, but right now that's not it. He's a co-sponsor of the bipartisan Telehealth and Innovation Improvement Act, which would improve the access to health, medical attention to rural areas and people without having to go into a facility, being able to gain access to medical assistance in that regard. In regard to clean energy, he's for that, but he has voted no on some things in the past because he believes that if we're going to link ourselves to a worldwide environmental issue, that China should be required to do the same thing. He doesn't believe it's fair if we're required to, but they're not. I think I'm through, even though there's more to tell.
Yeah.
Talk later.
Question.
Now, this isn't my 3 minutes, you know. It's already gone.
Yeah, keep
I'm
on
sorry,
going.
Commissioner, go ahead.
It's more of a commissioner report or a congressional report than a public comment. So, and up to you. You can continue to ask questions on the
Okay, go ahead.
congressional report. It's important that we know.
In spite of the high tariff that are set against other countries, import and export. This morning I was listening to the radio and KUER, a report on Apple, what has created a supply, oversupply. Producers cannot ship out due to high tariff to other countries that were receiving the goods before. So what's going to happen to the economic, like the gravel pit and asphalt? Right now we're creating a clinic over here by asphalt producing particles that are particulates that are possibly negative impact to the health years to come. Are we supporting that humans be to become unhealthy. Therefore, we supplied the clinic and also the hospital.
In
So,
regard,
in regards to the question of which is safer, which is more, psychologically positive. So
in regard,
that's what I heard.
in regard to the issue of tariffs and business and those issues, Congressman is a true supporter of the free enterprise system, but believes that it should be a level playing field.
Yeah.
And that's part of the issue that is trying to be worked on at this point in time, is to level that playing field. But he supports the free enterprise system very much, so he comes from it. So, I did have one other thing.
There's, those national concerns are certainly concerning. The biggest concern I have right now that I think the Congressman can help with is getting the broadband right-of-way agreement signed by the President of the Navajo Nation, which if it expires at the end of the month, we will lose $10 million of money to put that broadband out on the reservation in San Juan County.
The Congressman is very supportive of broadband. I will make sure he understands the timeline on that. And I know that he and President Nez are working together on some other things that impact the county regarding roads and some of those things, but I will make sure he hears that.
I don't think anything is more important than saving the $10 million that we've already got appropriated just because we can't get a right-of-way agreement signed by the Navajo President.
And it expires
The
November 30th.
end of November.
I think I received an update on that, and I've got to follow through with that. As a clarification, I believe President Nez's office has signed that agreement for the right-of-ways, and so they're working through that finalization of that for this first phase. So what my understanding is, then it's the second phase, which will come later on as well.
But the expiration date of the end of November, you're thinking that agreement has been signed?
Correct.
It was signed last week.
If you find out differently, will
And
you
we
please
can
let me know?
Natalie, you can come up here and give us an update too. Natalie's been kind of tracking it as well on her side.
It was signed last week, so.
So it was signed last week?
Can we get a copy?
No.
We'll get a copy. There's no pressure.
I think what I heard her say was anybody but you.
I need Willie and Kenneth to get a copy so they can take it down to the chapter meeting.
Okay, back to order.
Okay, well, anyway, the broadband permitting streamlining was one of the issues I wanted to mention that the Congressman has submitted and is working to try and get the streamlining of those permitting processes made available through federal law. He also sponsored a SOAR Act, which is the Simplifying Outdoor Access for Recreation. There may be people in this room that would view that that's a problem, and we need to get that streamlined and make it available to use.
Could be a sore spot. Who knows?
Could be, you just don't know. Anyway, if there are issues that you feel like we aren't aware of and aren't working on, such as you bring one up, fortunately, see how quick I got that one taken care of? Anyway, if there are issues like that, please, you've got my contact information, please don't hesitate to call.
Thank you, Larry. Bill?